going to deal with COPA extraction. Okay. So when you see different type of extractions, we were basically having three things, right? Generic, customer generated, and business content extractors. So generic we've seen, and LO was actually part of business content, so we had to install and then work it out. But I said in case of customer generated extractors, there is no ready-made data source given by SAP, but only thing is they just give you an environment, and on top using that environment you'll have to generate the data source and then use it. Okay. Now look at this. So I told you, see, our focus is on extracting data from SAP ECC to BWMS, and ECC is an ERP product of SAP, and they have categorized into what? Logistics, accounting, and what? HRS. Now within financial accounting there will be majorly finance and controlling. FI, CO antaru. FI is for finance and CO is for controlling. Again, finance will have sub-modules like AP, accounts payable, account receivables, general ledger, asset accounting, special ledger. Again, CO would have sub-modules like cost center accounting, product costing, overhead costing. Atla, there will be one more thing called COPA, profitability analysis. So COPA data is actually sub-module of controlling in finances. FICO lo controlling lo COPA anedi oka part anadu. So COPA extraction will be leveraged when you want to extract data for COPA database. Clear? Neeku chaala modules untayi kada, but CO controlling ane module lopala COPA oka module annattu. Sub module annattu. If you see this ECC accounting, what is controlling? Deen lopala what is profitability analysis. So COPA extraction can be leveraged only to extract COPA data only. And if you have a project where they are focusing on extracting COPA data, only then you will use COPA extraction. Rare on it. A logistics can LO extraction got very regularly used. The okate scenario got very rarely used on it actually. Correct way, no? Yeah. So COPA stands for controlling and profitability analysis. Okay. ఇదంతా అవసరం మనకి మీరు చదువుకుంటే ఓకే. సో బేసిక్గా ఏంటంటే see, as a BW consultant, once the BW software is installed, we customize the BW system by creating cubes, DSOs, BEX queries, all those for the users. Same way, when they install ECC system, FICO consultant will configure the system for finance and controlling. Okay. So when they have to configure COPA module in ECC or COPA application area in ECC, they create something called operating concern. మనం క్యూబ్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేస్తామో అట్లా FICO కన్సల్టెంట్ కాదు కోపాలో వాడు ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాం, మనం చేయము. దే క్రియేట్ సంథింగ్ కాల్డ్ ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్ విచ్ ఇస్ కన్సిడర్డ్ టు బి ది టాప్ మోస్ట్ లీగల్ ఎంటిటీ. జనరల్గా దే క్రియేట్ డిఫరెంట్ హైరార్కీ లైక్ ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్, కంట్రోలింగ్ ఏరియా, కంపెనీ కోడ్ వేసుకుంటూ వెళ్తుంటారు. ద టాప్ మోస్ట్ లీగల్ ఎంటిటీ వుడ్ బి ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్. అండ్ every time they create operating concern, they would it's more like a cube. మన బిడ్లో క్యూబ్ ఎట్టుంటే అలాగనే ఉంటుంది అప్రాక్సిమేట్గా. It would contain characteristic fields and value fields. Do you understand what is characteristic fields? మన బిడ్లో characteristics, value fields అంటే key figures అన్నట్టు. See it like you will have a operating concern, then under operating concern you will have controlling area, under controlling area they will have అన్ని ఒకటి లీగల్ ఎంటిటీస్ అన్నట్టు. Characteristics could be anything like product, customer, company code, billing type, controlling area, only characteristics. And you can have value fields like quantities, revenue, sales distribution, overhead, ఏదైనా ఉంటుంది, కాంట్రిబ్యూషన్ మార్జిన్ అట్లా ఏదైనా ఉండొచ్చు, అన్ని మెజర్స్ ఉంటాయి. నెక్స్ట్ ఫోకస్ ఏంటంటే, సో లెట్స్ సే in BW you created a cube with some characteristics and key figures. It will be same way FISU consultant will configure operating condition with characteristic fields and what? Value fields. So once cube is created, do you load your data into it? Same atle. So how the data has to get loaded, you specify with all the transformations and all those stuff, right? Same way. Once FISU consultant creates his operating condition with the characteristics and value fields, he would do the integration, because COPA is an integration model. So when I say integration model, for example, it will have very tight integration between all the modules. Suppose let's say in the sales module, let's say in the sales department, you have done some billing bus, and that will be posted to COPA as like revenue, sales revenue bus. So in the purchasing, you paid some money to a supplier for buying some products, raw materials. That will be posted as cost of raw materials, cost of raw material cost or something. At where model ekkada transaction jarugutundo then equivalent postings anni COPA lo automatic jarugutund, and that will be configured by FISU consultant. Like how do you use specify transformations? You will also specify the integration, saying okay, SD lo billing ila jarugute illa raavali, purchasing lo ila spend chesi ila raavali, so production lo itla production planning production cost jarugute itla raavali ee cost ana atla. He will basically specify the mapping for all the value fields and characteristic fields. And when the business is live and when they keep doing sales postings or purchasing postings, all this automatically data comes into COPA module, into the operating concern. And since data is already integrated into operating concern, why don't we extract this operating concern data and then load into BW and then do reporting? That's the concept. Okay, boss. So COPA is an integration model. This range lo untundi. Look at this. Maulvi అకౌంట్స్ తెలిసిన కొద్దిగా ఐడియా ఉంటుంది. కాస్ట్ షీట్ బీకామ్లో కాస్ట్ షీట్ చేస్తాము అంటే మొత్తం నెట్ సేల్స్ ఎంత, నాకు బిఫోర్ ట్యాక్స్ ఏంది, ఆఫ్టర్ ట్యాక్స్ ఏంది, నా కాస్టింగ్ ఎంత, ఇది ఎప్పుడు కాస్ట్ షీట్ అనమాట. చూద్దాం అట్లా వీ కెన్ బేస్ దిస్ ఇస్ యువర్ కోపా మోడల్ అండ్ వేర్ యూ లైవ్ ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సోల్ విల్ బి సేమ్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ లైక్ ఏ క్యూబ్, అండ్ that is an integrated model. Ante there is no direct posting actually done. When you do some transactions in the other models, it automatically reflects the transactions into COPA. Adi concept. Chudu. Say for example in the sales, you have SD model. When you do billing, it does post data into finance. From billing, do you get the gross sales? And from billing, you also get the discount. If you have given any gross sales, discounts also. Yeah, and let's say from production, if there's any production variances, you get into this. From product costing, you get the cost of goods manufactured. What is my manufacturing cost? From overhead management, ante idi raw material cost anko. Let's say there will be other overhead costs, ante resources, power. You'll have lots of cost center costing. All those cost center allocations, all those will come in from the OEM, COM, overhead management. Or it could be from MM or FIG. All this data comes direct posting from finance, like sales cost or something. With all this, the cost sheet can be managed. And basically, all the KPIs from different modules get integrated to COPA bus. Very, very, very critical module. And it does store into some tables in the backend. And those tables are really, really, really huge. You'll have 4 tables. The ABAP reports on those tables are really slow. So what they do, they extract all the scope. So they don't want to negate the performance of the system. So they extract all the scope of data into BW cubes. They generate out the reports first. Yeah. And COPA can be implemented in 2 concepts. One is costing based and one is accounting based. And in FISU consultant, when he is configuring this operating concern, he can either go with costing based or accounting based. ఇది ఫ్రీక్వెంట్ క్వశ్చన్. కాస్టింగ్ బేస్డ్ అంటే ఏంది, అకౌంటింగ్ బేస్డ్ అంటే ఏంది అని అడుగుతారు. సింపుల్ ఏంటంటే ఇది కాస్టింగ్ బేస్డ్, ఇది అకౌంటింగ్ బేస్డ్ కాస్ట్ షీట్. కాస్టింగ్ బేస్డ్ ఏమైందంటే, సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ యూ వుడ్ లైక్ టు హ్యావ్ సే 10 KPS or 10 key figures. Each key figure will be separate value field, separate column. Okay. In case of accounting based ఏమైందంటే, you will have only one field, say value, quantity or values, and each value will be differentiated based on the GL account. You'll have a column called GL account and you'll have a value. and what value does this represent depends on the GL account number. That is accounting based. Can I say accounting based is more denormalized? అంటే ఇప్పుడు నీకు 5 కీ ఫిగర్స్ ఉండాలి, 5 ఇట్లుండవు, అన్ని 1 2 3 4 5 జిఎల్ అకౌంట్ నెంబర్ వేరే 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 ఉంటుంది. సో విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ జిఎల్ అకౌంట్ యూ డిఫరెన్షియేట్ దట్ వాల్యూ, దట్ ఈస్ అకౌంటింగ్ బేస్డ్. అండ్ ఫర్ ఈచ్ కీ ఫిగర్ యూ హ్యావ్ డిఫరెంట్ సెట్ ఆఫ్ కాలమ్, వీ కాల్ దట్ ఇస్ వాల్యూ కాస్టింగ్ బేస్డ్. ఇలా ఉంటుంది. ఇట్స్ మోర్ ఆఫ్ కాస్టింగ్ బేస్డ్. యూ హ్యావ్ రెవెన్యూస్, డిస్కౌంట్స్, కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ గూడ్స్, సెపరేట్ వాల్యూ ఫీల్డ్స్. And if you say accounting based, you see 3 keywords, but they are differentiated based on what? What is GL accounts? ఒక GL account కి ఒక రిప్రజెంటేషన్ పెట్టుకుని వాడు డిఫరెన్షియేట్ చేసుకుంటాడు వాల్యూ. See, and you have operating concern. You have created operating concern with characteristics and value field. Each value field gets integrated from different modules. So your COPA will have entire, from SD I get the sales. From production I get the cost of goods. So can I get the actual net profit? Total sales minus cost. So but cost is coming from a different model, and sale billing, the net sales is coming from gross sales is coming from different model. అట్లా అన్ని మోడల్ సంబంధించిన డేటా ఇంటిగ్రేట్ అవుతుంది కోపా. దట్స్ వాట్ ఐ మీన్ ఎస్ కోపా ఇస్ అన్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ మోడల్. ఓకే, యూ డోంట్, ఓకే, విల్ కమ్ టు దిస్. మీకు ఇదంతా అవసరం. So now let's say FICU consultant has configured operating concern by using, let's say, costing based. Now when you create a cube, does it create fact table and dimension tables? Same way, when FICU consultant does configure our operating concern, it does create 4 tables in the backend. One is CE1, CE2, CE3 and CE4. XXX అనేది operating concern name. Generally operating concern name would be 4 character. Suppose my operating concern is IDA and anko, so the table would be what? CE1 IDA, CE2 IDA, CE3 IDA, CE4 IDA. If my operating concern is RH01, then CE1 RH01, CE2 RH0. At operating concern name but maripodam tables. But ultimately you will have 4 tables majorly. Okay, boss. And the CE1 table will have all the actual line items posted. Direct, is it direct posted or does it come from different models, boss? Different models. And CE2 is actually planning line items. Planning ante basically the planning was done. So this is important. In COPA, planning also can be done. In ECC, COPA model can also be leveraged for planning also. So in COPA you will have actual data as well as what? Planned data, both. So when I am extracting COPA data, are you extracting plan or actual or both? Both ethical. So generally they do reporting on what was my actual value, plan value, just. And you understand about CE1, CE2, right? CE1 is a detailed line item record of actual data. CE2 is detailed line item data for what? Planning. Now CE3, CE4 it's like your fact table and dimension table of a cube. CE4 table will have all the key figures, value fields, is something called segment number, object number, and for the same object number you will have characteristic combinations in CE3 table. మన ఫ్యాక్ట్ టేబుల్ ఎట్లుంటుందంటే డైమెన్షన్ ఐడి, కీ ఫిగర్స్, ఆ డైమెన్షన్ ఐడి బేస్ మీద క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ ఎస్ఐడీస్ అట్లే సేమ్ C4 table will have object number versus all the measures, and C3 will have for the same object number what are the characteristic combination. Divide చేసి అప్పుడు అనాలిసిస్ ఇచ్చేకి ఈజీగా అన్నట్టు అట్లా టేబుల్స్ పెట్టుకుంటాడు. It's all maintained back end automatically. Sorry, reverse cheppina. C1 is with all the line items in line item database. C4 will have object number and characteristics, and C3 will have object number and value fields. So object number is like a dimension ID. Okay, boss. Realignment run stored in tables as posted. You don't have to worry all this. Something realignment run. ఏం లేదు బస్ రీఅలైన్మెంట్ రన్ అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సే in my so all my characteristics are into C4 table కదా. So I've got a customer 4717, yeah, and he actually belongs to, he was actually initially was belonging to north, and we have done a lot of postings as north. Now later my user has changed from north to west bus. Now what I want, all those postings what is already done with north, I would like to realign them with west, what is it, west bus. That is called as realignment. Manam jemu, it's all done by, these all slides of FICO, because I just took it to understand what is COPA bus. So there's something called realignment run. When they do that, what happens, they're going to change all those data. Either lookup mapping bitti anni change chestanu values. So alantappudu realignment run jariginappudu em manam malli reload chesukovali. We need to reload so that I get the new data to override those records again. Ante kadanna. When they realign, they're going to change the historical transactions. When they change it, I will have to reload all those. So always when they do load COPA, we will leverage ODS, so that if there's some realignment runs, I can always do a full load again and overwrite my records also. So this COPA, at the basic end, there is something like operating concern. We will have to leverage that operating concern and extract my data into BW. Antavaraku one point. Okay, boss? ఇప్పుడు క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే, ఓకే, వెన్ కోపా ఇస్ సో ఇంపార్టెంట్, సో క్రిటికల్ విత్ ది డేట్, అంటే కెన్ ఐ సే ది రిపోర్ట్స్ అండ్ కోపా ఇస్ మేజర్లీ యూజ్డ్ బై ది ఇంటర్నల్ యూజర్స్. అంటే దే విల్ నో ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ వాట్ ఈస్ మై సేల్స్, వాట్ ఈస్ మై దే కెన్ గెట్ నో ఎగ్జాక్ట్ ప్రాఫిట్, వాట్ ఈస్ మై నెట్ ప్రాఫిట్ అన్నట్టు. ఇది రిపోర్ట్స్, కోపా రిపోర్ట్స్ నుంచి ఎగ్జాక్ట్ నెట్ ప్రాఫిట్ తెలుస్తుంది, మొత్తం ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్కి నెట్ ప్రాఫిట్ ఏందని తెలుసొచ్చు. సో వెరీ వెరీ క్రిటికల్ రిపోర్ట్స్. సో మై క్వశ్చన్ ఇస్, when the reports are so much critical and so much important, why SAP has not given a ready-made data source for COPA? That's the question. And nichinoonki idi baro em vadandi. Why was there no ready-made data source delivered for COPA? Okay, so why is it ante, so COPA data source has to be based on operating concern, but the structure of the operating concern cannot be fixed, keeps differs from client requirement to client requirement. So SAP has not fixed any operating concern. So as per the client requirements, FICO consultant will configure the operating concern structure with the characteristic fields and value fields. Then based on that, I must generate my data source. When operating concern cannot be fixed, which differs from client requirement to client requirement, how can SAP fix the data source on top of it? COPA data source అనేది ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్ మీద బేస్ అయి ఉండాలి. ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్ వచ్చేసి కస్టమర్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ బట్టి దాని డెఫినేషన్ మారిపోతుంటుంది. ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్ ఫిక్స్ కానప్పుడు వాడు డేటా సోర్స్ ఎలా ఫిక్స్ చేయగలుగుతాడు, అందుకు వాడు ఇయలేకపోయినాడు. వాడు ఏం చేసినాడంటే ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ఇచ్చేసి ఫస్ట్ లెట్ FICO కన్సర్న్ క్రియేట్ ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్, యూజ్ దట్ ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్ అండ్ దెన్ జనరేట్ యువర్ డేటా సోర్స్. ఓకేనన్నా? సో ఇది అడుగుతారు క్వశ్చన్, కోపాలు ఎందుకు రెడీమేడ్ డేటా సోర్స్ లేదు అని అడుగుతాడు. అండ్ లెట్స్ సీ హౌ డు ఐ జనరేట్ డేటా సోర్స్. హౌ జనరేట్ అంటే చాలా సింపుల్. So before I generate, I am just trying to use some నాకు తెలుసు డెమో సిస్టంలో ఆల్రెడీ IDE అని ఒకటి ఉంటుంది ఆపరేటింగ్ కన్సర్న్. యూ కెన్ గో టు SPRO. మనం ఏం చేయమని ఇవన్నీ జస్ట్ టు మేక్ షూర్ వెదర్ ఇట్స్ బీన్ అవైలబుల్ ఆర్ నాట్. I'll show you some operating concern. So value field, first you'll have option like create characteristic, create value. FICO concern will create characteristics, will create value fields, then it will create what? Operating concern. I'm just trying to see what is already created. Yeah. There is an operating concern called what is IDA, which supports both costing based and accounting based. If I say display structure, I can see the characteristic fields or value fields what is been into that. Even all these are characteristics and all these are here. What is value fields, and you can see some attributes. This is good, but there is something like company code currency, operating as in currency, company code currency, profit center value. And just I'll come to this point. There are 3 currencies enabled. That's it. I'll come to that. Nothing like this. There is some operating as already defined, which is IDA. So will it have those 4 tables in the backend? What is it? CE1 IDEA. Actually, this is actually IDAS. So my ECC is IDAS system, demo system. So I'll already have some sample data into it. Now business users the demo system, there is some IDAS system, will have some sample data already. So there's some data into this. And what is it? CE2. We'll have some data in planning also. CE3, if you focus, what is all this? Key figures, and it will have PA, what is object number. Just get hold of any object number. What is 306, right? If you go to what is CE4, it will tell me what is the 306 segment involves characteristics. So 306 indicates this is the controlling area, this is a currency, sales organization. You'll get to see all the characteristic combinations. Like a dimension ID laga. Yeah. You'll have all these 4 tables been available in the backend. So now I would like to extract this particular COPA. See, what are the data we have in CE1 and CE2? The same thing is split across object number wise in CE3 and CE4. Can I say the content of CE3 and CE4 is same as CE1 and CE2? Yeah. So how do we generate the data, COPA data source? You go to KB0. Okay, when you go to KB0, we use it for generating COPA data source. So by default, the naming of the COPA it takes at 1_CO_P. I can also remove it, but they still hold it like that to indicate that's a COPA data source. CL ERK just remove this. Say underscore. From which client I am extracting this COPA data? Client CL and client 800. Then what is the server name we're extracting from? System ID. What is EHP? And from there you can give anything. I'll just say SLS. And maximum length of the COPA can go only till 19. Maximum length of a COPA data source can be 19 length. Yeah? Now, do you want to display? Do you want to create or delete? Create. Then immediately ask me, you want to create this data source on which operating console? Real time lo IDA undadu. This demo version system got IDA, IDAS version got demo undanna. Real time lo vere untundi. Vallu edante adi vallu vadukovali. Then you want to go with costing based or accounting based? I would like to go with costing. 99% costing based veltaru. Then I'll say what? Execute. Then what does it do? It takes me to the next screen where it will tell me this is a data source name, this is operating concern name, this is a source system we are going to use, and these are my descriptions. And then there's something, what is here? Field name for partitioning. Ante you going to have different kind of segments. Okay, say now let's say I have got lot of COPA database. I would like to categorize it on the product. Okay, I'm dealing with 3G, 4G and I would like to have all my profit analysis for 3G separately and 4G separately. That is product wise. Let's start like 3G is like one company code, 4G is like a different company. Then my partitioning is on company code wise. At what field level you would like to do the segmentation or partitioning of the database. And then down you start selecting out all the columns what you want. See, these are the fields are coming from where? From the operating concern definition. They have defined characteristics and value fields. It listing out. You can just select what columns you want. Yeah? That's it. So what you can do, you can just say equal to init. If you type in this command, it automatically takes a description short, medium and long, and field for partitioning also automatic. What is this? Bookers, and it deselects all the fields below. You can just select what you actually want. And there are some mandatory fields. Now you look, what is the mandatory field here? Since it is costing based, company code is mandatory. If it is accounting based, company code, controlling area and cost element, all those three will be mandatory. And these are, see, and some time characteristics like year, period, record type, version, currency type, these are again mandatory. Apart from this, if you want something, నేను ఇక్కడ ఎక్కువ సెలెక్ట్ చేస్తే నాకు మళ్ళీ అక్కడ ఎక్కువ ఇన్ఫోబెట్ కావాలన్నా, ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు వేస్ట్ టైం. సో ఐ జస్ట్ సెలెక్ట్ కంట్రీ, region. Okay, sorry, and that's it. And if I go down, I would see still, and still I want to go with value fields. Value fields ante what is it? Measures, key figures. I want cost of, what is, can you write this? I want everyone to write cost of goods sold WV140 is a technical name. దాంతో లింక్ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్ ఉంది లింక్ దానికి. కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ గూడ్స్ సోల్డ్ and I've selected ordered quantity WV0QT. Again, write down this technical name. And then I want revenues. Chal. Any kind select chesukochu. Naku fields ekku aithe. WV010. That's it. Now just say check. Okay. Say fine and say click on the button generate cat. Sorry, in this one. Info catalog bus. And then it starts generating your data source. See. The next screen what you see, you would see as if it's the last screen of extraction. And when you select your value fields, right, and relevant reference fields will be taken automatically. So this, during the screen vachindante endi ayipindi data source, data source name, description, extract structure name. It is based on the fields what you selected, it has created extract structure. And does it support delta? Yes. And see the currency type, valuation, year, variant, period, record type, plan, all this till here it is all fixed dimensions, fixed fields. Company code, country, region you selected. Then it was revenue, order quantity, cost of you selected. But these two I never selected it. How was this coming in? This is the currency field of this. This is the quantity field of this. And if you still want to have selection, you can enable year wise or company code or something. You know about selection. No inversion here. Okay. And if you want hide, hide it. Save it. That's it. This is about creating COPA data sources. That's it. It's simple. Ello ante undadu. And do I need to replicate this? Okay. For COPA 100% we always replicate this in 3.x and then migrate it to 7, because in COPA we have some automatic proposal of infobix. I'll tell you what it is. Data source and say what? Replicate. This automatic RSDS వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. Controlling under this profit. ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఐఎస్ఎఫ్ఎస్కి వెళ్ళిపోతాను. బో 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 I'll reconvert if required. I don't want to waste. It is automatically creating that. I can say restore 3.x, so it will bring 3.x back. So do I see my data source now? You go to source systems, display data source tree. This is your data, and you see small square indicating it's a 3.x flow, and it does have those fields. ఇది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. WV010, WV0QT, WV140. Yeah, good. Now right click. I'll say what? Create what? Transfer rules, and I'll go with application proposal. Because should it is not giving content, and there's no ready-made. When there's no ready-made data source, how can there be ready-made info source with the same name? So only proposal. So system will try to find out a suitable infobix for this and then propose it for me. ఈ ప్రపోజల్లో కొత్త పాయింట్ ఏమంటే, it is saying when it is trying to propose, it is facing all these problems. What is infobix zero validation is not active. So do I need to go about activating all this for zero validation? We type zero evaluation. Then what is the other one? Zero V type. Zero V type బాగా ఇంపార్టెంట్. Zero REC underscore type. Zero version. Again I will do now. It goes through. Okay, everything is fine. ఇప్పుడు నాకేందంటే, see, these are the infobix which are proposed for every field. Look at this fields now. WV010, and what is the infobix proposed? 0Z underscore A double. So this should be a business connect object. Kada? Let me check if it is already there in the business connect or not. I want to check whether is this infobix given by SAP or not. See, it is starting with 0, but I don't find that in the business content. These are the ready-made infobix from ECC itself. When they configure COPA, for every value field, it does create some infobit in ECC itself. When I replicate, it does propose the same infobix for. That's why for COPA, we always go with proposal. It has to be 3.x. So I'll say what. Now I can click this to automatically bring the communication structure. So Inv object service, just activate. It's all one-to-one mapping, it's fine. Then I'll create DSO. Okay. See, data source transfer structure always. Info source communication structure. Because if it's 3.x flow, we are using communication structure. Yeah. I'm going to use this as a template. Unknown. Is it mandatory that you put all characteristics into key fields? Not necessarily. ఏమనండి 0GB 0G UWV. I'll create update rules. I can go to RS7 old. Update tools from info source. Just activate. You go to RS7, you see the entire flow now with 3.x here. You just create info package also. So does it support delta? So edit load. Okay, now I have to migrate the complete flow. Right click on the cube. Migrate data flow. Z COPA MIG or some name. It's create. Then select all this. And say save migration. Normal message. That's a transformation warning. normal. I understand. It could not activate because of the warnings. It could not activate the transformations full-fledgedly. I can do this. I can straight away manually CA like this also. Right click on the rules and say create transformation. So just trying to create Z and then text. What is it? Boss? Short term T code I forgot. Sure. Record DTPL goes. Used field target. Man, the ODS kadana. Why? is where it is failing. Rule for record mode. Rule for record mode. ఇక్కడ అవుతుంటుందంటారు. పెద్ద చిన్న టాపిక్ మనం field symbol that has been assigned there. Record DTP. Record DTP. Record. Record.